Hello everyone and welcome. Today we'll be taking a look at a few highlight viewer submitted matches for the September 2025 viewer challenge. Yes, first match of the day shall be a 1v1 on our lovely 3-player map Last Fantasy here. The Red Protoss Probes. It is Yezi occupying the top side of the map, and their opponent here towards the bottom right, a blue command center, the SCVs of SC2. Welcome to September, or should I say Siege-tember. Yes, the viewer challenge info, Elaric, if you please.
I hesitate to think what you would do without me.
Thank you. As always, absolutely wondrous. Perfect. Yeah. Alright, so the viewer challenge information. Yes, this month all about siege units and tactics. I want to see things like siege tanks, like swarm hosts, like Tempest, disruptors, all of those lovely things that when you think of them, you think of maybe how they are used, how they work. Primarily a siege type of unit. You have to set it up. It's a little bit of a longer range, great for breaking open somebody's front door, that kind of thing. Banelings, a little bit of a gray area, sure, but we'll see if there are any Zergs today. I'm kind of okay with it because of what I just said for busting open the front door. It opens the way for other units. I think that's probably a good way to describe it. So something you use to crack open that door to let all of your hungry Zerglings in and have a nice day. We've got a couple of workers and one less worker making their way into the bases. They did at least find their opponent, I suppose, depending on what their goal was. Is that Stone Announcer Pack? Very nice. A Campaign Aficionado. Fantastic. Probe finally makes its way across here. Why did it bring minerals as opposed to stealing the minerals? Well, that was about the most clutch depot raise. That's a possibility. You attack the SCV. Well, that works too, I suppose. They will see it though. Like they will know. But okay, so they'll see it, but will they know? That's not quite the unit I was expecting to deal with it. Wow, that poor probe had no idea what just hit it. I see a bit more red streaming across. There's 4 slow zealots coming. What even is a build, honestly? Like, truth be told, what even is a build order? Is it more of a build guideline? Is it more of just a build idea? The depot gets raised in time. The SCV's picked off, but that command center's looking pretty healthy. There's a bit of time to actually deal with the zealot attack here. We could siege up, but we're not gonna. The unsieged siege tank attack. Siege tanks versus zealots. Could repair where the SCVs. Well, luckily the Protoss gets slightly distracted and decides to go after a different siege tank, which will allow this one to make it out. Was that virtually flawless? That was virtually flawless. Okay, only the couple of SCVs picked off and lost. The command center lives. The siege tanks alive, but also guilty of the most atrocious crime of the unsieged siege tank attack. Yes, their penance will come. Their repentance will be brutal, I'm sure. Why not? Let's attack with them. They've been working out really well. Getting high-sec auto-tracking, which I would be mad about if you actually were making anything other than siege tanks, I guess. I'm starting to have my suspicions for who might be the viewer And I'm gonna say this is not quite what I had envisioned when I said primarily siege units and tactics. They're like only siege tanks. How about that? They siege up. The friendly fire is gonna hurt a bit more than much of anything else. Oh god. Unsiege it. Oh, friends. Reinforcements show up. That's an offensive missile turret here, which is actually going to prove to be a very good decision because there is a void ray on the way. Do you know? No. There's been zero scouting. Not even a scan. Do you have an orbital? Yeah, you've got 2 orbitals focusing on the macro, though. I kind of like it, actually. Okay. The Zealots continue to be a nuisance for really both the siege tanks and the Zealots involved with that. There is an SCV here for repairs. Second one shows up. We might want to get another missile turret, though, since the void rays are starting to come out. Like, this one's easily picked off. This one could be picked off, too. This one's probably safe for now. Uh-oh. Void Ray shows itself. Starts going after the SCV first. I do actually kind of like that decision. Pick off the SCVs, pick off the turrets, maybe. Then suddenly you don't have to worry too much. Recompense and whatnot. What am I looking at? Oh my gosh. Like, this is just absurd. SCVs here. 2 void rays and a dream. Charge them up. Charge them up to fight the turret. Well, they will eventually get the job done. Like, charging them up would have made that go a lot easier. You know what else would make this a lot easier? Producing anything. We don't not even have Warp Gate. Warp Gate does not exist for this Protoss's arsenal, which sounds about right, I will say. The mass siege tank player on the other side has decided to dip their toe into something slightly bigger than siege tanks, which is, of course, everyone's favorite, the Thor. As soon as it pops out, I can say it. Don't you worry. You just gotta wait. Bear with me a moment here. As the countdown approaches. Get ready. Oh, they're making more than 1, 2. Fantastic. Fabulous. Almost here. You ready? You know what's coming. Happy Thor's Day. Yes, perfect. Sending out, pulling the boys too. Like, this is not at all what I had quite thought would happen, but I suppose that's my bad for not quite thinking it through. Like, oh, well, what if I only do this? Yeah, that's fair. I suppose you can take things literally. Making a command center. That's the more intriguing choice, I feel. Siege up the tanks. Ooh, spreading them out, too, so that they can make sure to hurt each other with their friendly fire. Perfect. Where's the Thor? The hero unit, the commander of the operation here. No cannon mode. We're going to stick to the splash damage. There are 3 voids, which I think is well worth it to just stick with that splash damage option. Crawling the tanks forward. Uh-oh. I seriously don't think the Protoss knew this was coming. The units attacked on their own as a response to being attacked. The panicked movement. I don't think the Protoss was quite ready. What is the Protoss really doing? Well, they're trying to make a bunch of units. They're still not getting Warp Gate, which I feel like really just kind of tells the level that we're at with this. Yeah. We're getting charged, though, which is probably the best upgrade for this Protoss to get. The problem is there's not going to be a whole lot of Zealots to use it. Planetary? Landing zone obstructed. Cannot build there. I can just hear Abathur. Now we switched into cannon mode, but it's not really necessary. The missile turrets are going to help out. The Protoss army is deleted forced to uninstall from existence. The command center can finally land. Really? Okay. Like, this is just styling on your opponent now. Come on. He's already down. Why are you kicking him? The planetary fort. We'll see if it gets to complete or not. Maybe the Protoss will come to their senses and leave at this point. The Thor is here, ready to help out. I do like the idea of getting Immortals. Immortals are really nice. I mean, Charge Lot Immortal is a solid composition. The problem is pretty much everything else. The worker deficit, the fact that there's a planetary fortress on the front lawn, we let missile turrets complete. We really needed, I think, some Tempest to try to crack some of the buildings. The Zealots will actually get rid of the Thor. That's all of the army units that are here, but the problem is there's a bit more threats going on. I have my thumbnail material here. A bit more as far as threats going on than just units. That planetary fortress is in range of the Nexus, which is going to prompt our dear, innocent, poor defenseless Protoss here to tap out a decision I quite agree with. So really, the siege tank attack working out a bit better than I would have thought that it would have. 11 siege tanks, 3 Thors in total, lost a few SCVs, but bringing quite a few with you. The missile turrets working out really well. The planetary, I like it. Thank you for the thumbnail. Overall, pretty solid intro game with all of the challenge ideas in mind. You did, of course, achieve the objective. The mission was a success, so thank you very much for the submission. That is not all for today, though, folks. On to the next. The second match of the day will be played on the map Undercurrent here. A 2v2 match here in the upper right corner of team number 2, we will go with, already starting off with some rather aggressive talking going on, a bit of spicy chat. The Teal Protoss, it is Versace. Their Protoss ally in purple here, it is Barack Obama. Well done, wordplay. Team number 1 here, the bottom left, the red SCVs of Nash the Gash. And wrapping it all up, another Protoss here, this time in blue, it is Knuckles. The brawn of the operation. Okay. That's, interesting naming. No, the nomenclature of the day is certainly rather creative, showing off some viewer independence and creativity abound. We will see how the builds translate with all of that in mind. A lot of Protoss. No Zerg's severe lack of creep on this map, if you ask me, but I know Zergs have a bit of a tougher time in team games than both Terran and Protoss. Not quite the same footing, even ground, level playing field, so to speak, all that jazz. We'll see. Terran player, the only non-Protoss, is opting for a rather quick factory. Okay, we'll see what really comes of that. It could be for something factory related. It could be for something starport related. It could even be even more wild and be something ghost related, because, you know, a particular thing we get from the Ghost Academy requires a factory. Yeah. You know, beautiful viewer. On the other side, team number 2 remembers the existence of a warp gate, a vast improvement upon our last match already. Let's see. What will they be wanting to retrieve from said warp gate? They only have one, yeah, for now. They're going for the second base. They're taking the pocket base. Did they clear it with their ally? Possibly. We don't really know. They're the one, actually. Teal is the one that says, shut the hell up, boy. So I'm inclined to say Teal did not clear it with their ally, but Teal also does not care to clear things with their ally. Their ally is supposed to clear things with teal, is probably how teal thinks of it, at least. Which says a lot, yeah. Widow Mine here to help out and possibly harm the friendly probes here, if something were to perhaps fly over the Nexus, but start to pick that off. Blue is going for a Stargate. Teal is going for a Stargate. Purple, a little bit slower on the draw, on the uptick, is still getting their warp gate cranking up. No Nexus, no second base. Oh, purple is just a little bit slower. Okay, we're rocking about 29 average apples. That's okay. The teal coming in at a hot 96. What are you doing? Oh, Phoenix. The confidence. I like it. Okay. On the other side, we see what the factory was designed for was not anything factory related. It was, in fact, liberators. A bit of indiscriminate freedom about to get unleashed upon these Protoss. Going for the mineral lines, I assume? Not quite yet. We're waiting. I think we're going to try to line up, but get both of them in there at the same time. Oh, no. No, we're just going to queue it all up. That's fine, too. Queue it up, move on to other things. You can see they're not actually controlling it, which I really do approve of. That's a good thing. Teal, though, quick on the pull. Only going to lose 3 of the probes. That's going to help out. Purple. Uh-oh. Not quite as speedy. Total in 6, double the losses here. Oracle for blue pops in as well, goes for the back base. Team number 1 coming in with some heavy hitting harassment. Already 30 probes were here. The teal just put all of their probes on the back base. Liberator will be picked off. The teal, I'd say rather incidentally, going for Phoenix is going to make this a relatively easy cleanup. The problem is, how much are they losing in the meantime? 2 of the Stalkers die too. What a good pickup. That Liberator certainly making it, look at this, worth its weight in gold, I would say. Or at least minerals, whatever our minerals are made of. The Oracle gonna soak the shots from the Phoenixi. The Zealot, yeah, the Zealots, they're trying to offer emotional support. Oh, Purple's trying to get their own Stargates, going for the Void Rays, yes. Behind this, we have a lot of Stargates, Fleet Beacon, and a lot of factories on the way, so the compositions continue to be intriguing choices. I would say Liberator does qualify for my list. If the Terran is the viewer, is the submitter, that absolutely qualifies. Liberator is a rather tried and true textbook definition siege unit. Has a siege mode and everything. What about things for Protoss? I mentioned Tempest, of course. What else? Carriers. I mean, sort of. Not really. I wouldn't really consider carriers a siege unit. I think it's more of a, hey, we're Protoss and good luck anything else kind of unit, especially for Zerg players. Oh, Tempest. Okay. Tempest, definitely. If blue is the viewer, I agree with the choice here. Tempest is a fantastic idea. Liberator sets up shop again. The 2-for-1 deal coming in serious value. 8, 9. Oh, we're going for the Stalkers. We'll get one of the Stalkers at least. Teal losing quite a few workers here. 26 total probes have died for Teal. I'm pretty sure Teal just shot Purple with the Tempest. Can I get the instant replay? Yeah, Teal just shot Purple, which sounds about right for Teal's, let's go with behavior so far. Going for Tempest, everybody's actually kind of going for some things that qualify, except Purple. Void Ray is definitely not. I would not consider Void Rays a siege unit at all. It's like calling the Banshee a siege unit. Like, no, not particularly. Oh, the charge up from blue. Getting that done. Unfortunately, teal shows up, though, to even that out, so purple's going to end up winning that exchange, albeit barely. Just barely making it out of there. What's red doing from the factories? Whole lot of nothing from the factories. Making more liberators, which have been working out, I would say, dreadfully successfully. Actually, very well. We're going to have Liberator Tempest. Not the composition I would have expected to see, but I'm still on board nonetheless. Holy, 5 Tempest at a time. You trying to afford 6 Stargates here? Well, you do have 57 probes, so you are at least the highest on the probe count. I suppose I will allow your absurd decisions then. 6 Tempests at a time. The 48 Applums for them both, actually. Kind of neat to see that. Relatively even. Are they like on the same team? No, the clan, at least the clan isn't the same. I don't know if they're friends or acquaintances or whatnot, but they are certainly a bit of an even setup. On the other side, teal continuing with their shenaniganery, yes, adding on another Stargate, going for Tempests of their own. The army supply, though, can we see? We'll just look at the units. Very not good, I would say. We've got 10 Pists for blue. Yes, you heard me. 6 Liberators for red up against the 4 Tempest, 3 Phoenix. So, honestly, I think the Liberators should stay anti-air. I think the Liberators need to stay anti-air to help cut down the enemy Phoenix, cut down the other Tempest, and then you can siege up. Oh god, we got tectonic destabilizers too. Void Ray the first to respond. Red actually, he might be doing what I was thinking of. Keeping things in the anti-air mode is going to really help out. Most of the reason, I think, for that is because mostly what you've seen so far from your enemy is also air units. Like, we don't have to care about the Zealots. The Zealots so don't matter. Teal is adamantly not helping. Teal is trying everything they possibly can to not get involved, not help out their purple ally. Advanced ballistics coming in handy. Oh, teal will be forced into the engagement at this point. The Liberators evaporate the Phoenix. Good grief. Don't ever make fun of the Liberator anti-air attack when what you're packing is Phoenix and Mutas. Holy moly. The army is gone. Deleted. So is the game, too. Okay, then. Well, team number 1, the victors, I would say. As far as the viewer in this exchange, I mean, truth be told, you both kind of participated. I don't know if that was intentional, if that was intended or not, but Liberators absolutely qualify. Tempests absolutely qualify. I'm going to say, well done, well played to everyone involved. That is looking pretty good. Hey, a team game in the roster for the day. A little unexpected. On to the next match. The next and final match of the day will be played on the map Persephone here, back to 1v1 territory. The red Protoss, the upper left corner, shall belong to I Barcode. And the bottom left here, the blue Terran Command Center of Argo-Matic. The Argo? Like, Jason? Is that you? Probably not. I'd be a little surprised, little impressed, but I think we can all agree they would probably be playing Terran. I think that's a fair assessment in this day and age. Barracks in their base. Gateway in their base. At least one of these players is doing something siege related. Oh god. Rip. SCV was not mineral walking, could not be saved by the poor Terran. probes 1, SCV 0, yes. That is a good summary, a good way to put it. So at least one of these players, we have to know going into this, is going to be doing something siege related. Yes, now Terran, I think a little more obvious, as siege tanks, liberators, kind of the easy pick. Protoss, a little more, I would say, potentially gray areas with some of their units. I think Tempest, obviously, a siege unit. As far as ground stuff, I'm kind of partial to the Disruptor as a siege unit. I think it is weird enough. I think it would definitely qualify in terms of my personal and very biased opinions. Well, this is kind of awkward. No, oh my god. He could have gotten out. Argo, boatman here. Okay, really? Like, you chose then to stop microing the Reaper? We're picking and choosing when we actually pay attention and micro the Reaper. Luckily, this has destabilized the barcode Protoss. For a brief moment, they had 4 of 3 in their gas, which of course it doesn't have any real impact on the outcome of the game, but we will undoubtedly make fun of them for it. And say, ha, you had red text above your assimilator for like 10 seconds. Noob. Yes, that's what we will do. Behind this, tech choices are starting to be made, starting to show themselves. I see Widowmine coming up, Starport. I thought the Starport was next to the factory because that would make sense, of course, if we're going to be doing a type of Widowmine drop. I'm guessing we're not doing that type of Widowmine play then. Absolutely not the case. Widowmines are going out to just burrow in front of the base. On the other side, we have both a Dark Shrine and a Fleet Beacon, because why would we do an actual build order when instead I can just kind of do this? Yes. It's a good question, a good possibility. All hypotheses are welcome. Postulate with me. Why would we do anything actual good build when instead I can get both a Fleet Beacon and a Dark Shrine? You know what? Let's just go Void Rays and Dark Templar. Full-blown Nerazim build order. Okay. That's fair. That's fine. The bunker coming up, I see at the front there. Truth be told, neither one of them are really doing a whole lot right now. It's macro turns. It's macro time. Speed this up ever so slightly. I saw the time on the replay. Oh, we are doing a medevac drop. Really? Widowmine's coming into play. They had to get all 4 though. They didn't want to go out with just the 3 mine drop because there's space in the medevac. I mean, you're not just going to fly out with space still in there. No, grab another Widowmine. We can fit one in here. Just jam them into the corner, scuffing each other up there. Luckily, they're just AI, right? They don't have real feelings. Those were Tempest shots. The Widowmines go after the same probe, and the 3rd one doesn't even burrow. The 4th does burrow, gets a couple probes. Okay, that actually wasn't horrific. The Fleet Beacon appears to be used for Tempest, and it's not quite an aggressive, like, you know, I'm rushing Tempest kind of Tempest. It's more like, I feel like making Tempest kind of Tempest. I just woke up and I decided, you know what, I want to make some Tempest. Okay, let's do it. We're also going to go across, send them out for aggression, naturally. The missile turret starting to line up. We really probably should have prioritized that missile turret. That was a little less than ideal. And this one needs to just go into the mineral line. Yeah, he's getting distracted. We're having... Did you just destroy the neutral bot? I think so. And then walk into their army? like, the decision making. Decisions are being made. The Marines have stim, does make them reasonably scary. The issue is going to be trying to actually catch the Tempest here with their high ground, low ground shifting. We really are going to need some more answers. Vikings, I think, are a decent option. The DTs go for Archon mode. Fair enough. This is combat shields that we are potentially going to deny. You've had the opportunity to deny this for like a solid 30 seconds. The Archons having a bit of a tough time. Struggle up against the pile. The Widowmine gets the kill. Takes out the first Archon. Marauders deal with the rest. It's showing up. Like, is this just over? Does the game just end? You might be wondering. Like, clearly the Protoss is in a pretty solid position. I can tell you no, dear viewer. The game is not over. We are barely a third of the way through this beautiful match, yes. Cyclone here, not gonna help out. Yeah, no, not particularly. We're a little late. We're a little past the Cyclone point here. This is... yikes. 4 Vikings are not gonna deal with 7 Tempests. But we need a bit more. We need some repairs. No, and missile turrets aren't exactly ideal. They are getting Vikings though. We need to focus them. Focus fire a bit. There we go. Now we're getting them. Picking off the injured Tempest and then switching targets randomly, rapidly. They will eventually clear them just as reinforcements show up. Rather brutal brawl here for like 7 minutes. This is why Terrans are so upset with dealing with Protoss. Okay, look at this. Look at this. And then we scan and we're like, oh wait, I don't have anything to actually deal with it. The 4 Marines will deal with it reasonably well enough. The Viking count continues to grow. 2-star port to Viking. I agree with the choice. And I would continue to agree with the choice, given that the other player is making Void Rays at this point. Should have gotten those smart servos. Vikings dropped to the ground a lot quicker. Mass Viking, I hear from our lovely, beautiful patch notes that we might be able to have Mass Viking a bit more cost-effective, a bit more feasible, yes. Which would really help out, I actually would say, with this type of situation. Not because the Terran player, I think, is trying to mass and scramble to get Vikings, but simply because they were trapped on 2 bases trying to get Vikings to deal with the Tempest, making the Vikings a little bit cheaper. Not an unreasonable idea or hope for the Terran Armada. Such Tempest play has been dealt with, and the Protoss has decided to move into their next absurd bingo decision of, I'm going to take 4 Nexuses at once. The mass Nexes, yes. Because why not? Why take a 3rd and defend it reasonably when I can instead have 6 bases spread out kind of absurdly? Natural barcode Protoss intellect here, which I'm sure will end up paying off because the Terran doesn't seem too keen on spreading things out, kind of keeping an eye on the map. They really do need to. Where'd you come from? Is this the original Widowmine drop? Is this the same, the only mine that survived it? I'm inclined to say so. I think so. It doesn't look like they've made a whole lot more Widowmines. Marine checking. Okay, so the Terran is thinking about checking these bases, and they're going right for that corner, right for the bingo base. The Terran knows. Like, I know my opponent. This is such a Protoss move. You didn't go far enough, though. We gotta actually go into the mineral line. This feels like a bad idea. The Vikings are going... Yeah, that That was not good. Okay. I mean, really, they're making Tempest Void Ray, so it's like, at this point, we really just need a lot of Marines. Like, Marine Viking shuts this down. Silly, easily. The ground forces are going to be a bit of a bigger issue. They do not have Storm, but it looks like they are pretending they have Storm because they have a couple of Templar. Siege tank set up in a decent spot. The Void Ray is starting to contest that position a bit. Marines will force them back. The charged Zealots get on top of the siege tank. Will be the death of the tank. The Archon still going strong. Cyclone shows up, has a few strong words to say about that, but the Archon still stands. Or floats. They don't have legs, so I guess he still floats. Second Archon, having a bit of a tough time. We got him out. Commander Archon. Where'd he go? He went, oh, okay. This was the closest Nexus that had energy, so he went over to the gold base. He is now promoted to Governor Archon, and he oversees the new lands, the new acquisition of Gold Baseopolis. Yes. Congratulations, Archon. Made it to the big leagues, got that cushy office job. The story of the Archon unfolds. The Protoss player, recognizing that they had multiple High Templar with energy but without Storm, has decided to rectify the decision and is researching Psi Storm. Marine finds stray pylon. Actually, quite a few stray pylons. Somebody left the gate unlatched on the pylon pen, and the pylons are now starting to roam free throughout the map. Well, I think we know what happened to the Marine. The Void Ray's dealing with him handily. It would appear, I would say, it would appear to me, at least thus far in this match, that the Protoss is the viewer, is the submitter, just based on the amount of Tempest I feel like I've seen. The Terran could change it up, though. They have had a couple siege tanks. They're getting a Liberator, so it's a possibility. I can't rule it out. It's just far less obvious. I think they're being a bit more subtle with their love of siege units. Right now they're just panicking, trying not to die to whatever the Protoss is cooking up. And what is the Protoss cooking up, you might be wondering? Well, we're going to kind of go for more of the same, but this time we have Storm. And will that be the deciding factor? Storm goes out, dealing incredible damage. The Terran sits in it for a little bit too long. Thankfully, so did the Zealots. So that's going to hurt the Protoss just as much. Oh my god, that one was good. The Vikings are just grouped up far too strongly, far too substantially. The Medevac's now in a bit of peril. Boost. There we go. Get the Thor out at least. The Charged Zealots leading the charge, as their name would imply. Siege tank sets up far too close to the front line. The Tempest trying to help out from the back. Another great Storm goes out, hits the Liberator and the Thor. Siege tank Liberator standing strong though, still alive. Siege units for the win. See? I know what I'm talking about with this challenge. I'm just trying to help you guys actually stay alive. You need to build more siege units, more tanks, more Liberators. They are making another tank. Possibility there. The Protoss continuing to get away with their economic shenanigans. I don't know what happened to this Marine, but it was probably not a lovely and peaceful retirement. He never made it up here, though. So it definitely was not a happy and peaceful retirement, we're going to call it. Considering the lack of scouting, the lack of job fulfilled there. 3 robos on the way, 5 barracks, more Liberators, good. Liberator range, good. Plus starport attack, fantastic, yeah. Tempest, I like the decision. 7 DTs, 8 DTs here, we're just going for Archons. Charge, Archon, Storm, Tempests. Like, it doesn't get more lightning-y. Okay, we're going for a lightning Protoss build. We got Tempest, we got Archons, and we have Storm. I actually kind of like that idea, that premise. We have DT Blink. Do we have DT Blink? No. No DT Blink. Oh. That wasn't very good. If you're gonna... Yeah, okay, they're trying to get DT Blink. Look how angry the DT Shrine looks, you know. The Dark Shrine. I called it DT Shrine. Same kind of thing, I suppose. The Liberators go for their anti-air mode, which is going to somehow deal more damage than I think it deserved to the Tempest. The Terran player, I think, was caught off a little off guard. I don't think they were expecting the Protoss to actually be right there and ready to go, so to speak. No, we're backing up. You're maxed out. Although I do agree with not hitting right here. I would split off 2 medevacs of Marines and go, you know, anywhere else. But what do I know? I just work here, I suppose. It's fine. A few Zealots. The Protoss is maxed out too, but it's such a hodgepodge of the army that this doesn't really feel like a maxed out army. Templar count is at 5. That's going to be quite a bit of storms. Decent deflector storm there. Goes after the Vikings. This is why some Protoss do tend to keep at least a few stalkers around. It's just an anti-Viking insurance, so to speak. You thought you were going to get away with no Tempest audio for today, you fools. The Tempest reigning supreme. The Storm is disgusting. Oh my gosh. The ghosts are gone. Decent EMPs though. Templar having to merge. Tempest here. Immortals show up. My favorite piece of the puzzle. Terran army still holding. I think they might be able to hold. I think they'll be fine. The air battle's going to go to the Protoss, it looks like, but the ground... Oh god, there's carriers. Suddenly, there's carriers. I didn't see them coming. The Immortal fails the test of their own name. The Terran ground army does win, albeit quite barely. The Marines now going to have an incredibly difficult time dealing with 3 carriers of interceptors. Yeah, this is... We got to get tripped up on the Zealots. That's not going to help this out at all. That's the Terran's production. They're trying. They are cranking Marines. They are cranking out Vikings. The problem is getting everything together. You really just need to kind of group everything up. Just sack a couple of these front buildings, because going in piecemeal like this just seems a bit not quite worthwhile. I believe the last Tempest falls. Yes, the last of the Tempest fall. We are now moving into pure carrier type of composition. Ah, yes, the good old days when I could just make carriers and call it good. Yeah. Yes. The Terran army just scrambling to really focus their fire. The Vikings do wind up getting rid of at least 2 of the carriers there. Pulling one of them back. Reinforcements showing up. Carrier has arrived. Count now at 4. Where'd the loose one go? Here, he went over here again. We're just doing the panic recall of anywhere that has energy, and we're not quite specifically recalling. I keep feeling like they would specifically recall to here, but not the case. Not the case. Carrier, Immortal. I'm not too sure about the Immortals, honestly. Well, the Thor shows up, so I guess that does help out the argument. But I feel like just Storm would kind of be helpful to deal with the Vikings. Storm, Archons, of course. Motherships, not a bad idea, just to help give the Vikings a target while you actually deal with them. You can hit the cloak button, then use your Storm, use your Archons, try to focus down the Vikings. The Vikings land on deck. This is actually really good for the Protoss. The Terran just cannot seem to keep their finger off of that land button, which is going to cause this battle to go very one-sided. The carriers absolutely crush the remaining defenders. Marines stimming forward. Confidence and aggression is what they have, and they have it in droves, but it is not going to be enough to actually help out the carrier count. Oh my gosh. 7 carriers, 2 Tempests, 2 Pists. I don't think that works. They also are not needed. The carriers are doing plenty fine at this point. And if you're looking at this, you're a Terran player, you're like, how is he supposed to deal with this, Indigos? How are you really supposed to fight this and fend this off? Okay, the obvious answer is don't let them get here. The Terran had plenty of opportunities to actually take the fight to the Protoss, get a little bit of damage done. The problem is the decisions we made along the way, as it always is. But if you are intent on trying to find an answer to fight this, battle cruisers actually do deal with carriers quite well. Plus armor on the cruisers, so the interceptors are nothing more than an annoying gnat. Yeah. And there we have it. The victor, the submitter, the viewer, the Tempest maker here. Our lovely barcode. Aye. Well done, well played. Absolutely satisfied my challenge requirements. Your total number, what did we end up with? So we've made 17 Tempests. I like it. I like the choice there. Siege unit, really the only one I would describe. Archons, not really. Carriers, like carriers could be a type of siege thing. When you consider how they attack, it is a bit siegey, but I'm gonna say they're fine because of the Tempest. Terran player, oh my gosh, 223 Marines went to the slaughter in this game. Nearly 60 Vikings. Good grief. The amount of money thrown into these battles. If you enjoyed, be sure to let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great day.